Eurovision 2022 is sort of a weird year. At the time, I didn't necessarily consider myself like a full-on devoted Euro fan. So I was more of a casual fan, and because of that, a lot of the drama and all of the excess of the national final season and other stuff like that kind of just went over my head that year. And I was only sad for the final and the two semifinals mostly. Honestly, from what I remember, it wasn't really that good. Like I didn't really remember much from that year. But every single time I go back to this edition, I'm like, damn. Because yeah, it did have some songs that weren't necessarily up to par and were pretty bad. But the top end of 2022 is actually insane. Like this edition holds so many songs that I would consider to be amongst my favorite Eurovision songs of all time. Although they did receive pretty, I would say, mixed results when it comes to my favorites. They kind of were all over the place when it comes to the scoreboards. I would also argue that this is a year that had very, very strong non-qualifiers. Like some of these non-qualifiers, the way I would have it, I would have like 10 of them in the final. Well, okay, maybe not 10, like 6, but okay, I'm doing a hyperbole right now, and that isn't necessary. But honestly, it's gonna be kind of fun to take a look at Eurovision 2022 and see how it aged and how some of the entries in here, in my opinion, remained relevant after their time at the Eurovision stage so many years ago. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk about some of them because, as I said, some of my favorite Eurovision songs of all time are gonna be in this video, including my top 1 favorite Eurovision song of all time. It's in this video, so let's just go. Hello, my name is Freyr. I am your favorite local forest gremlin, a Polish sociology student, and a pop culture enthusiast. And today, as I just said in the very, very long and extensive intro, we are taking a look at Eurovision 2022. We're gonna be going over every single entry that was entered into this edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, and we're gonna be ranking them. Well, I mean, I will. It's my ranking. Yeah. Quickly, before the actual yapping begins, I would like to remind you to please subscribe to the channel. You can like the video, you can comment down below, you can share it with your friends. You can also follow me on all of my other socials, which include, for example, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. It always really, really helps me out, and I really, really appreciate it. So please do consider doing that. But if not, let's get back to the video. The quality of music in 2022 was honestly really, really good. The quality of stagings, on the other hand, was not. Most of these entries have pretty bad stagings, I would say, or pretty mid, pretty average stagings. I would say there were only a few that actually like worked, in my opinion. Therefore, I'm not gonna be like talking as much about the actual staging, about the packaging of the performance, because here it just kind of doesn't make sense to do it. Like this stage was malfunctioning. It was dirty. This is not a good edition for stagings. Another quick disclaimer, you might notice that there are only 38 places on the board, whilst we had 40 competing countries, and that is because I am excluding Israel and Azerbaijan, as I do. If that's not something that you would do in your personal ranking, that's fine, that's completely up to you, but this is how I choose to interpret it. Eurovision has and always will be political, therefore I am choosing to exclude these two countries from my ranking for obvious reasons. If that's a problem with you, I don't really know what to tell you. This is kind of my ranking, so I'm doing things the way I want them. And honestly, listen, for the good of Israel, it's kind of good that they are excluded, because girl. But we're gonna get there. I will cover their entries. I just won't rank them. So that's kind of how I choose to approach that, I guess. But without further ado, let's begin. LPS, representing Slovenia, placed 40th. That's the last place of this edition. And that is honestly kind of surprising to me. Like, I don't hate this song at all. I think it's fine. I think it's a little flat in places. I just kind of wish that it went somewhere, because it kind of stays in the same place for the entire duration of it. But as like an actual song, as an actual package, I think it's fine. I think it sounds pretty interesting. It has that old school vibe to it, which I really enjoy. I also kind of enjoy how it's sung. It has like a vibe, and I can't quite like put my finger on what exactly it is, but I just really enjoy it. That's all I can say about the song itself. Honestly, I don't think this was a bad entry. However, what I do think was bad was the performance of it. I said that I'm not gonna mention the staging too much, but this one I kind of have to mention because I don't understand why we did this fucking huge ass disco ball. It's just a very confusing choice to me. Also, God bless them, because from what I remember, they were like really, really young when they competed. But Jesus Christ, these people look horrified. But honestly, I feel them because like I would be too, you know? And I think I'm older than they were when they competed. Because they were like 19, I think. I don't know. But either way, I think that this song is fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not like phenomenal. I think that this is an okay entry, and I'm gonna place it in the 31st place. Also because I probably won't get an opportunity to say it in a different video. All due respect to Slovenia for potentially withdrawing from the contest in the protest against Israel's participation. We love you guys. We stand Slovenia. But as you can tell, I already feel way better about some of these entries, because when I did the Eurovision 2021 revisit, my like actual like good entries were starting at around here, around 26th, and now they're starting around here, around 31st. That's a glow up in my opinion. So yeah, I would honestly argue that this is a better year than 2021. Like it stayed with me for way longer. Okay, so Georgia is up next, and I have so many questions. I would genuinely be into this if the song was good. The song is not good. The song is boring. It doesn't really go anywhere. It sounds undercooked. It's just nothing that I would ever choose to listen to. However, there is like a sense of mystery here, because I like the nature of the staging being like slightly like hypnotic, and also their clothes and the entire like styling of this is just very, I don't know. It's like interesting to me. I just wish that the song was like, I don't know why we are doing all of this. I have no idea, no clue. But honestly, I kind of respect it, even though I don't think I've ever listened to this song like actually on streaming. I watched the performance live when it happened. I kind of forgot about it as soon as it happened, but at least it was interesting, you know? So I guess they did something right, you know? Okay, I think I'm gonna put it in the 35th place. We have 2 countries on the board already, and now we are visiting Bulgaria.
Life could be worse.
No, not really. This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This happens, and I kind of wish it didn't. This was so bad. So boring, so bad, so dated. This song to me feels like if you would have asked ChatGPT to write you a rock song. That's what would come out. The problem here is I know for a fact that this was not written by AI. This was written by a human person. This is a performance that I watched for the purpose of this video. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to. I forced myself to do it because I had to rank it, and I wanted to like know what I was talking about. This was painful to watch, especially coming from a Bulgaria stan. Like, I love some of Bulgaria's past Eurovision entries. I think they've been knocking it out of the park for years. And now, like, this being their last entry just sits so wrong with me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I wish that Bulgaria had ended its run on Victoria, because that would have been an epic way to exit the contest. Like, both of her entries were incredible, but instead they decided to bother showing up to Turin with one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. For what purpose, really? Sometimes you have to think to yourself whether it's actually worth participating, or maybe you should just sit this one out. Because if this is what you're gonna be bringing to the stage of Eurovision, maybe just don't bother at this point. Everything about this was bad. The lyrics, the song, the performance of it, the vocal was just horrible. Like, yes, a rich guy got a song for Bulgaria and financed this participation, but was it worth it? No. And I think the country of Bulgaria lost as a result of this entry. This is just horrible on all fronts. And this, coincidentally enough, placed 38th in the actual contest, and it's gonna place 38th here as well. Okay, up next we have Montenegro with Vladana, and I kind of have to admit a bias here because I actually kind of like this entry. First of all, Vladana is mother. Like, we love Vladana in this house, we stan her, but also I don't know, for like the simple Balkan ballads that typically don't really go anywhere, this for some reason really hits. Like, I genuinely enjoy listening to this song. I think the hook of it is really, really addictive. I like how it builds. I think that it has a good message, even though it took me a few lessons to understand it because it's slightly like broken English. Like, I like understood it, but I also didn't at the same time. I do, however, think that the staging of it was kind of bad. Like, why does she have this huge ass circle on her back? Like, is she supposed to be an antenna? Like, what is that supposed to be? It's not the best Balkan ballad I've ever heard, and I would never call it one, but it's also far from the worst. And I actually think that this is a very decent entry. I think I enjoy it. I'm sorry, I am an apologist for this entry. I think it's actually quite fun. And also, I do listen to this sometimes. Like, it's a good song. I feel like I will be judged for having this opinion, but I don't care. This is a good song. So from Montenegro being on the board, we go to Austria, which sent an absolute banger. Was this performance slightly shaky, vocally specifically? Yes, of course it was. But I don't care. I really don't care. I still listen to this song daily. It's a banger. I love the energy. It's so hype. Like, this song is to me what We Will Rave was to other people. I liked We Will Rave. I never like loved it. It was just kind of there for me. But this, I was sold from the very first second I heard it. Also, this might show that I wasn't really active in the Eurovision fandom in 2022, but can someone explain to me in the comments why people thought Pia Maria wasn't real? Like, what's that all about? But honestly, I think that this is still a very, very good entry. And I kind of hope that we will get to hear it when we go to Vienna this year. Like, I would love for this to be like a part of the flag parade or just be an interval act. I don't think Lumix and Pia Maria are ever getting in the same room together ever again. But I would like to see it. I would be sat in the first row, shaking my ass off. Austria lands itself in my 11th place. I don't understand how this finished so low, especially considering the entries that we're gonna get into next. Like, how did this finish lower than Malta? Like, come on, yes, the performance wasn't that good, but it was still fun. Europe just hates fun. But speaking of Malta, bitch, I don't wanna... Do we have to? Do we really have to? Take it or leave it, I am what I am. You are what you are. And that is uninteresting. This entry is so boring, so manufactured, so goddamn lifeless. This is so boring, Jesus Christ. It sounds like one of those songs that like a company would use in the background of their like Pride ad, you know, when they're doing like rainbow capitalism and they're selling shirts with the words "Be who you are for your pride," and they need to sell it somehow and show that they're inclusive. So they use a song like this in the background so that it's all nice. It's like, makes me want to puke. This also sounds to me like a TikTok song, specifically like a TikTok song that was put through the Meghan Trainor machine of making music. And I love Meghan Trainor, she's fun, but like her recent music, you know what I'm getting at. And the performance of it was, I guess, fine. I didn't care for it, really. I don't really remember it that much, to be honest, actually. I took like no notes on it because I was just so offended by this song being so generic and bland and uninteresting and bad that I just kind of forgot. And honestly, maybe that's for the better. Sometimes nepotism eats, but not in this case, because Malta lands itself in my 34th place, and we move on to another kind of a disaster, but this time slightly more interesting, from Ireland. I kind of like this. Like, it has that itch bowl energy to it a little, which I kind of enjoy. You know, it's a disaster, Bob. When it comes on, I'm not gonna be like too eager to skip it because it's kind of fun, even though I do also have my problems with it. Like, I have specifically the problem with like the pre-chorus part and the filter on it. I just don't really like it. I think that the song in the studio version though is kind of like inoffensive. Like, it's there. I just don't really feel like the performance worked for me. Like, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of colors. Yeah, colors. It was like very pink. She had this like, I think she had a blue outfit on. She sung it fine. She didn't sound like that good. Brooke, from what I know, can sing better than this. I think she might have been slightly nervous. Also, it just, I don't know, something in the performance just didn't work for me. I can't really like put my finger on what exactly, but there was something in there. I know that this song actually has like a few fans. Some people really like it. I personally don't really care for it all that much, but it's inoffensive. And honestly, I think that's the best case scenario for a song like this, because I'd rather have this song be inoffensive to me than actively annoying me like I Am What I Am does. So with Ireland on the board, we move on to San fucking Marino. I am a firm believer that Stripper would have done way better if it was entered into the 2025 contest, because it was the 69th edition. And you know, this entry is so fucking fun. It's horny as hell, but it also has that like rock energy to it. It kind of feels like he's trying to recreate the Måneskin nachos a little, but also he does it so well. Like, I love Achille specifically in this performance. He's such a talented performer. I think this was slightly messy in places, but that's kind of on purpose. Like, with a song like Stripper, are you seriously like expecting a polished performance? I'm not. He's kissing man, riding like a bull, I think, one of those, you know, machines that you like have to hold on to not fall, and it's like who manages to stay on the longest. It's like a mechanical bull. I forgot what those were called. He is over there being a slutty cowboy, putting his whole stripperousy into this performance, and I honestly love it. I think that this song is very, very fun. It's actually listenable, which, you know, with San Marino isn't always a given. I just kind of love this on all fronts. Honestly, I love San Marino. We love San Marino in this household. Like, if you don't stand San Marino, get out. So San Marino on the board. That is my 18th place, and we can move on to Latvia. Instead of meat, I eat veggie. Okay, so let's get this out of the way first. Instead of meat, I eat veggies and pussy is one of the most iconic moments in Eurovision history to me. Witnessing it live and not really knowing what would happen was so fun, because I did not know this song before. There were a few songs that I didn't know, going into this edition, like this is the last time that happened where there were actually songs that were just like full on surprises for me because I never heard them before in like the week of the contest. And Latvia's entry was one of those. They really, really surprised me. And I actually really, really enjoyed this song. I think it has a vibe. It's really, really fun. It's very bright, very colorful, and it's quintessential Citizeni, which is fun. Like that's what I know them from. Whenever they show up in a national final or whenever they do anything, it's always so much fun. And it even has like a message to it, which is kind of fun. Like it isn't like that serious, but it's, you know, it's promoting being vegan, which is cool. And we love to see it. The song itself is not like phenomenal, but at least it's, you know, it's hype. It has energy. It's fun. I like the chorus of it. I don't even mind the usage of like saxophone in there. Like it's not a problem for me, weirdly enough, despite the fact that I typically don't like sax in music, unless you're epic sax guy. I still feel like they were kind of robs. But I mean, the early running order position probably didn't help them. And, you know, once you go past the gag of instead of meat, I eat veggies and pussy, the song itself is just kind of mid. But I don't know. In my personal world, I probably would have had this qualified because it's like actually a fun entry. And I would have liked to have it in the final. I don't know. Just a thought. From Latvia in 24th place, we move on to Denmark. I will die on the hill that this was robbed and that this deserved the final. I really, really like this song. I think that the way it starts and the way it builds is really fun to see. I think it brings energy, but it brings it in like a rock way that doesn't feel like this, which is very, very important to me. I think that Ready are just really, really fun, and I really, really enjoy watching them. I just feel like this should have qualified, or at least been closer to qualification, because this placed like what, 31st in the contest. I think that this should have been like the borderline qualifier, or should have just outright made the final. I think that there were a few songs in the final that I could have definitely seen be replaced by something like Denmark's entry. So this is like the second year in a row where I genuinely feel like Denmark was slightly robbed, because I thought literally the same thing in 2021. I mean, they had a very, very long non-qualification streak, but it's fun to look at it and actually think to yourself like, wow, half of these weren't even like that deserved. Because I think the same about 2021, but also 2024. I think Saba should have qualified. So Denmark just got screwed over time and time again. Okay, with Denmark in 21st place, we go to Israel. We go to Israel. Jesus fucking Christ. Where do I even begin with this one? I'm gonna get this out of the way first, because I find it very, very hilarious that this is probably one of the worst songs to ever make it to Eurovision, but somehow it had, in my opinion, one of the most polished stagings of this edition. Like, this was a clean staging. It was basic, but they did what they could. It worked, in my opinion, but there's no saving a song like this. Whenever I see this performance, and I see it often because Twitter likes shitposting it, and I also enjoy doing it at times because I just find it very, very funny. Always, I think of that clip of like, I think it was like a dance class where people were dancing to, I think it was a Charlie XCX song, and it's that very, very viral video, which I'm sure you've probably seen it. This is one of the worst songs to ever make it to Eurovision. I think this is so painfully bad, not just because of the song. I think the song itself could pass for a regular song if you just took the instrumental, but the way he sings it and the lyrics of it are diabolical. Like, he's over there popping his Michael Ben Davidusi on that stage thinking that he's eating, that he's causing a motherquake, when very, very clearly he's not, and everybody's just getting secondhand embarrassment watching it. Like, the faces he makes are just like, oh yeah, I know I'm eating. Like, girl, please be so for real right now. The way he sings it too, it's just very, like, he's trying to be like very, very like fierce with it, but also have like personality and stuff like that. It's just so horrible. And these lyrics, I'm sorry, but this to me sounds like a RuPaul's Drag Race verse taken to Eurovision, but like made 10 times worse. Like, I like RuPaul's Drag Race verses. Sometimes they're really, really good, but they belong on RuPaul's Drag Race. And he's over there singing about like beating the competition and being stunning, and like, girl, this is not the time nor the place. I think that this is universally agreed upon to be one of the worst entries to ever make it to Eurovision, especially when you take the performance into consideration, because the song itself might not be like that bad, although I would agree that it is. But this performance, this is just a pile of steaming shit. I find it so amusing. Laughing at this performance is like top 5 best things to ever do. Like, when you're sad, just go and watch this performance, and I promise you, your mood is gonna be better, because you're gonna be laughing at how miserably horrible this is. All I can say is, to top this section off, because I've been yapping for this entry for way too long at this point, Monica Liu was correct.
Can you sing something tonight?
Cyprus placed 29th in this edition of the contest, and this is another robbed banger. I'd argue even more robbed than Latvia or Denmark. I would even go as far as saying as the most robbed song of this edition, because how is this not in the final? This, I think, might be the only Cypriot entry ever that I've actually enjoyed top to bottom, that I listened to, that I liked the performance of, and that I still listen to today. I don't think there are many Cypriot entries that I can say that about. And some people are going to bring up Fuego. I don't really listen to Fuego that much. Like, I respect it as a package. It's a good song. I just don't listen to it because it kind of find it like boring. It gets repetitive very, very quickly, even though the performance of it was iconic and we stand on Fureira. But like, this was really, really good. And I think this should have been in the final. For a long time, this was one of my favorite Eurovision entries of all time. And though my like love for it has somewhat faded because I've listened to it so much, I feel like I did kind of overplay it. I still think that this is a phenomenal entry, and I love the way it was staged. The whole like shell of like, I think it's supposed to be a reference to Aphrodite being born, and that Botticelli painting of her. And people were like, oh my God, the vocal was so bad. She sounded so bad, so breathy. Yeah, wasn't perfect. But guess what? It still wasn't the worst vocal performance of the edition. I'd even argue that if this entry was entered into 2021, people would be talking about her like she's a fucking perfect vocalist because of how many vocal fails we got to see in 2021. Like, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't bad. Like, let's stop making shit up at this point, okay? Honestly, Cyprus needs to get back to sending songs like these to Eurovision and not these wishy-washy Dimitris Kantopoulos factory rejects, like Liar or Hush. Jesus Christ, that was a... You know what? Let's not talk about Hush. Cyprus lends itself into my 8th place, and this is the highest I've ever had Cyprus in my ranking. Cyprus on the board, you're probably not going to be able to see it for a part of the video because I'm going to be sailing like this, but just know that it's in my 8th place, and now we can move on to probably the biggest disaster of the year, that being Albania.
I lost all hope today.
You lost all hope there, didn't you?
Secret is a good song that I genuinely enjoy. And that was one of my favorites going into 2022. And then I saw that performance. And I was like, okay. So that was not very good, was it? this song is a little fun, but watching this performance just makes me sad because of how big the potential of Secret was. Like, genuinely, I don't understand a single choice that was made here. The choreo was whack. The outfit that she's wearing, girl, what's this? How does that relate to Secret? Like, there is a performance of this from Festivali Kenges, which is genuinely phenomenal. Like, if she had taken a fraction of that performance to Turin, it would have been game over. It would have been Albania in the final. It would have been Albania in like the top 15, and not Albania opening the semi, unfortunately, and also struggling to qualify and eventually ending up not making the finale. It was still fierce in places, like the helicopter thing. Very, very silly. And I applaud that. And I still listen to this song unironically because it's just very, very hype. But I cannot get myself to really be positive about this entry because of this performance. But thankfully, the song itself is better. Albania lands itself in my 17th place. 2 more non-qualifiers, and now we are on to North Macedonia. So this is low-key boring. Nothing new, nothing changed. Same old shit, same old fucking shit. It's a sad song, in my opinion, but like, it's also very, very generic. I feel like I've heard it before. Like, I just don't live for this. It doesn't have a high enough prominence in my memory for me to be able to say much nice things about it. I think Andrea has a good voice. I actually really enjoy her tone. I enjoy how she's singing it. But the song itself, like, we can do better than this. We can do much better than this, I'd even argue. I'm also very surprised that this came this close to a qualifier spot. I would never expect this to be finishing like basically borderline in the semi. It's really gaggy for me. But honestly, I mean, good for Andrea, you know? Good for North Macedonia. Although we haven't seen them since, so maybe not so good. This is my 30th place. From North Macedonia and 30th place, we go to our last non-qualifier of the edition, that of course being Croatia.
I'm with him and you're a secret treasure. He's a vulture and you're a guilty pleasure.
It's so crazy to me that Croatia managed to finish borderline 2 editions in a row. Like, that's kind of cruel. A lot of people say that this is like a Taylor Swift song just entered into Eurovision. And to those people, I have a question. And that question is, have you ever seen how Taylor Swift looks like? And have you ever heard a Taylor Swift song? Because clearly you haven't. This is Gracie Abrams. This is not Taylor Swift. This is Gracie Abrams to me. I'm sorry. That's just, like, I look at this performance and all I can think of is Gracie Abrams. Low-key, I'm kind of living for this song. It's very soft. I don't think it goes in many places. I think it could have been slightly more upped when it comes to the drama. That's always something that I look for in Eurovision entries. But on the song-to-song basis, it's actually really good. Like, it's a well put together song that knows what it's doing and that isn't like necessarily pretending to be something that it isn't. I like the melodic line of it. I like how it goes. I think it's a little cliche, but like, that's not bad. You know, cliches are expected, but that doesn't mean they're bad. I don't really remember this song all that well. Like, I typically, when I listen to it, I just forget that it happened. But when I remember about its existence, it's not like a memory of like, ugh, this was horrible, you know? That never really happens. So yeah, I'd say that Croatia kind of did a good job here. And funnily enough, Croatia places 23rd in my ranking. It's very interesting for me to look at the non-qualifiers of this year when compared to 2021, because in 2021, if you have watched that video, you might remember that most of the non-qualifiers I had ranked on this side of the ranking. I think there was one that was in the 20s, like in the, well, not in the 20s, in the teens. I think there was one, maybe 2. But here they are way more spread out. Like, there are some that are at the very bottom because they deserve to be there. There are some that are just kind of fine. But here you have like 4 in the teens, and then you have 1 in the top 10. Like, that's, in my opinion, a sign that the quality overall of 2022 was just better. Like, it just, as a year, cohesively was just kind of better. It was a step in the right direction. What wasn't a step in the right direction was this German entry.
We used to be the rock stars. Never thought I'd know.
So this finished last in the final. Not very surprising to me, honestly. I think that this song altogether is not bad. I think it's fine. It's serviceable. It didn't invent music, but it also, didn't offend anyone. But it also isn't like offensive to my ears, which is good because Germany has a habit of really, really harming my ears with some of the songs they keep on sending. But why are we sending something like Rockstars to Eurovision? I just don't understand the logic behind sending an entry like this to Eurovision of all places. I like the staging of it actually, with how many like instruments are displayed. It kind of feels like a studio session, like a studio concert that he's giving, which is fun and I actually kind of think fits the vibe of this entry. Like the staging of it is kind of cool. It also sort of reminds me of Italy staging this year, Volevo Serunduro. Of course, it's different, and Volevo Serunduro was actually a good song that actually had a prospect in the contest, despite the fact that many people told me it didn't and it would finish last. Which I hope those people are feeling stupid right now, because girl. But this is just kind of there, it has a few elements that I like. The rap part is nice. It's just very inoffensive, and kind of that's its problem, because it fades into the back so easily. It doesn't stand out in the slightest, and that's why I have problems even remembering it exists. I wish that there was a more fun production behind this, maybe some better vocals. I wish that it actually built into something. You could have like a massive guitar solo thrown in there, or like just do something to make this seem a little bit more, I don't know, colorful. I think that this like singer-songwriter vibe can be done successfully in Eurovision, but this is not the way to go. And this is my 32nd place. Okay, so we have Germany on the board now, and we can move on to the 24th place in the actual contest, which was... See, this is what I meant when I said a lot of my favorites didn't really get the score they deserved, because what do you mean? The 24th place was France. I will never get over this robbery. Never. Second to last place in the final? Are you kidding? This is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. This is an entry that is still on repeat every day in my household. This went triple platinum in my home. And you mean to tell me that this nearly finished last in the final? I'm gonna start throwing things. Europe is stupid for fumbling this entry, because this is perfect. The staging for this is so fun. It's so witchy, so mystical. The styling on them is so much fun. I love the energy of this entry. I love that this is in Breton. I love Alvin's speech at the end of this performance. That gives me chills every single time. I love the energy. I love the green like enchantments or whatever those are supposed to be. I love the dance. Everything about this is just perfect. This is something that I want to see every year. Like Europe, for fuck's sake. Now everybody is over here complaining about France sending ballads because they do well, typically. And it's like, okay, but when they sent something that was totally different, a literal opposite of like a French chanson, a French ballad, suddenly no one pays attention. Like, also some people have the nerve to say that this was a bad entry. When I get you. This is one of the most iconic entries of Eurovision to me. This was robbed horribly, and this is the reason why now France is afraid of being adventurous in the contest. This is the same thing that happened with Germany when Europe fumbled Blood and Glitter. This is literally that same scenario. If this had gotten slightly higher up the scoreboard, we could have seen way more ambitious entries from France that weren't just, pop songs or ballads. But instead, we failed this. Well, you failed this. Europe failed this. I didn't. I voted for this 20 times, mind you, in the final, because I was like, I want this in the top 10. No, I don't think I voted for 20 times. That's a lie, because I also voted for, Okay, I just lied to you. I'm sorry, but I still voted for this, and I was very, very upset that it's finished this low. Fuck you. This is my third place. I don't care. This was epic. With France in my top 3 this edition, we can move on to another entry, which I also dearly, dearly love, which placed 23rd, and that was Iceland with Meg Hakandi Sjøl by Sister. Okay, confession time. I feel like this song isn't remembered by many people because, it didn't finish that high. And it also is slightly more low tempo. It's slightly more melancholic. It's not one of those girl bops that everybody's going to be losing their mind over. And every, person is going to be like, slay. This is not what this is. However, this actually is my favorite Eurovision entry of all time. And let me explain. To me, this is like the most beautiful song to ever be entered into Eurovision. I think the way it sounds, it's just so... I think it just transports me into another world. It's country, but also it has that like very melancholic undertone to it. Their voices are absolutely gorgeous to me. I love the lyrics to this one as well. They're really, really gorgeous. It's just... there's just some magic thrown in there that really, really charms me. I think this entry is authentic and it doesn't need, flashy lights and crazy stagings to be elevated. All that it is quality music that speaks to your soul rather than to your eyes. And that, in my opinion, is rare in Eurovision. But also, this is the same reason why I love Deslocado by Napa this year and why I was such a defender of it and had it at the top of my ranking. Literally, it was my winner of the year. This is the same thing with Iceland here. This song just speaks to my soul. It speaks to who I am as a person. And thus, I've been entranced by this ever since. This was one of those entries that I didn't know going into the contest because I feel like the fandom didn't talk about it too much, or I didn't hear about it too much. I knew that Iceland was participating, but I didn't really know their song. And when I first heard it in the semifinal that they were competing in, literally the moment that the host said, okay, now it's your time to vote, I took out my phone, voted them maximum of times because I was like, this is probably the most beautiful entry I've ever seen, probably the most beautiful song I've ever heard, and I need this in the final. And when they qualified, I was so happy. I was screaming, and it was the happiest moment of the night for me, honestly, of the entire Eurovision week. I didn't care about anything after they qualified. Genuinely, everything could have gone to shit after that. I wouldn't have cared because at least Sister were in the final for Iceland, and they represented their country beautifully, and they also represented my heart, in my opinion. I'm not Icelandic, but that night I was, and I will forever and ever cherish this entry as one of the best songs to ever go to Eurovision. Frankly, some people can judge me for having this opinion, and I'm sure that there will be some, but I don't give a flying fuck, honestly. This is my winner of the edition, and this is my favorite Eurovision entry of all time. It's magical. It's magic. It's pure magic. And I've never seen anything like this before or since, honestly. That top 10 is filling up pretty quickly, but now we're gonna discuss an entry that isn't in it. Lights Off is a good song, don't get me wrong. And this is actually a really, really good song because when I first heard it, I had this in my top 10. However, I'd argue that this didn't really age that well. I think this is kind of like a setting stone that led to us later getting entries like Strobe Lights or Baller, entries that are more electronic. However, this one, I remember really, really liking it, but it just kind of like, the more I listened to it, the more repetitive it got. I think the electronic part, I could have seen it be slightly more hype. I think that the staging of it though was really, really fun, with the statues in the back and how they turned off the lights for the second chorus. That was fun. I think that the problem for me now is the chorus, because it kind of falls flat, and then you hear all of the electronic production coming after it. I wish that there was more production, like more of those elements intertwined in the chorus, because it kind of doesn't go anywhere. It kind of feels flat, and then suddenly you were transported into this electronical world, and it's like, it's fun, but I wish that there was more of an ease into it, if you know what I'm saying. Like, these elements just kind of start happening at one point. I'm like, okay, they're cool, but like, there's something else that I would have done there. Still, this is low-key like a very good entry, and I would argue that this is one of the best Czech entries, actually. I mean, they've not sent really many that are that good, let's be honest, but I think that this is one of their better ones. And I mean, Czechia has definitely been stepping their game up this decade, and I think that this is proof of that. I also, when I was watching the contest initially, I was really surprised that this finished this low, but I think that opening the show might have been a hindrance. I think that this might be a placing that I will get crucified for, but I unfortunately did kind of fall out of love with this entry, and it is my 26th place. Finland is up next. This was an interesting entry for me when I first heard it, because for some reason, the night that I saw this for the first time, I really disliked it. I was surprised it qualified for some reason, which, okay, I was dumb, but like, still, I did not like this. And then I grew up and I realized that this is actually like a fun entry. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's staged well. I think it's performed well. I think that the song itself is a lot of fun. I think that the chorus of it is incredibly addictive. I dig their vibe a lot. Like the staging, the it reference with the balloons, the yellow. It's a lot of fun. I feel like this honestly aged really well in comparison to other entries. Like, I still sometimes go back to listen to it and I'm like, damn, this was fun. Like, Finland knows how to bring the party. And this also, aside from like the Polish, it also has that kind of like Finnish camp factor that I've really, really started to appreciate in the past couple years. So honestly, I really, really like it. It's really grown on me. And it's my 14th place. Okay, from Finland, we can move on to Armenia. It's the fact that this ended up being one of the most successful songs post Eurovision. Like, kind of random. I mean, okay, first of all, good for her. Good for Rosalind, because, again, congratulations, you had your TikTok hit. That's huge, actually. And I think it adds a lot to the credibility of the contest too, which helps. I was just really, really shocked because I never would have guessed it. The song is fine. To me, it's like the definition of mid, I'd say. Like, it goes places. I think it's written nicely. I think it's performed nicely as well. Although, I don't know, that room, because the staging of it is basically, I think it's a bedroom, but the walls are made out of like notes. And I'm just like, my sensory issues could never. Like, I would get annoyed by this room just by watching it on my tiny little phone screen when I watched the contest live in 2022. It's just kind of, you know, like, it doesn't matter, whatever. Also, I do think that this staging does look messy in places, like, but I also don't know if you could make a staging like this look polished and like clean and concise. I think it's kind of meant to be a little bit of a mess. Like, in places, it just kind of looked like an arts and crafts project, but just taken into like a size of an actual like an apartment, which is honestly kind of fun. The song itself, as I said, is fine. It's not really that incredible, but I think that there is emotion behind it, and I think it's written well. So I don't hate it. I actually think that it's pretty nice. I think it's a nice listen, although it doesn't really stand out that well in my mind. This placed 20th in the actual contest, and coincidentally enough, it also places 20th in my actual ranking. Okay, from Armenia we go to Belgium, and this will be a controversial opinion. I'm sure. I never liked this entry, and it's not because of the performer, because I actually think that he is incredibly talented. Like, he has such a good voice, such a good stage presence. I think he dances well. He performs this song well. But the song itself annoys the crap out of me. Like, this hook and the chorus makes me want to just actively like punch somebody. It's the same thing, but like slightly less that I felt with Czechia's entry in 2021, Oh My God by Benny Cristo. Whenever I hear that song, I just want to go and commit I think there's a verb for it in French. It's called defenestre, which is basically jump out of the window. I want to do that whenever I hear it. This one, slightly less. Like, I'm not going to jump out the window, but I'm going to think about it. That kind of thing. Okay, that's a way to measure things. It's like they had the correct artist, but not the correct song. And so I feel like a lot of people are surprised that this didn't like finish higher, because it feels a little jury baitish. It kind of does remind me of like songs like C'est la vie, actually, that was entered by the Netherlands in 2025. And that they kind of sound similar. And they also seem to have this similar jury appeal, but this just didn't work with the juries as much as it probably should have to get a result like comparable to C'est la vie. I'm sorry, I never liked this song, and I think some of you are gonna be gagged by how low I'm gonna put it, but this is my 31st place. Never liked this. Again, all respect to Jeremy, but not a fan of this song. Okay, time for Romania. So this is kind of a banger, and I kind of love it. I don't really come back to this as often as I did before. Like, Liamame, it's a good entry. However, one thing I will say about it is the studio version of it feels empty to me. It feels lifeless. It feels like there's something missing, and that something missing is the spark that is in this performance, because this is performed phenomenally. I love the dancing. I love the choreo. I love the usage of lights in this performance. I think everything works out for the better. It's a very, very polished, very well crafted piece of a performance. And I think it's really, really good. And it's so good, in fact, that I just don't listen to the song anymore in the studio version, because it just feels underwhelming to me. Like, I want to watch the performance of it. I don't want to listen to it in the studio. It just feels like something's lacking almost. And that's ultimately the problem that this song faces when it comes to my ranking, because I just don't really, if I don't listen to it often, and I don't really go back to this performance often, because there's a lot of performances that I rewatch from different years, and this is just another one of them. I just don't really, this song hasn't really stuck with me the same way as others have. So unfortunately, that's why it's going to be slightly lower down the ranking. It's going to be my 25th place. Although, of course, I do really miss Romania. Please come back, guys. We miss you. Now we have Romania on the board, and we can move on to Switzerland. In my previous video, I said that we should have seen Switzerland's 2024 victory coming after having entries like 2020 and 2021 from Switzerland done by John Steers. However, I could also see a different argument being said that 2022 and 2023 were such weak entries that a Switzerland victory didn't really seem like it was in the cards, because Jesus Christ, this is boring. The first time I heard it, I was like, okay, it's a ballad. It exists. It's okay. And then I just kind of never listened to it again, because for a ballad, it's exceptionally boring. This song goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere. You can make a ballad be interesting. Like, I think of ballads that start really, really low. Like, for example, Maman, which was the French entry in 2025. That one starts very, very low. It's just Luan's voice. She's just singing something, and then it builds and it builds and it builds. It's emotional. It has a message, but it also has drama. This has nothing. This is underwhelming as hell. And I like the message of it even. Like, the message of it is cool. And I think that he has a good voice. Like, I genuinely think it's very interesting to me. Like, it's very intriguing. And I would like to listen to maybe more songs done by him. Although I don't know if I will. But like, he has a nice tone to him. This is just very boring. And that's like the only thing holding it back. Like, I don't remember this entry. I don't remember it. And I think that's why I'm going to have it even lower than Georgia, because Georgia at least tried to do something. This is my 36th place, which might be a little harsh, but I don't care. We have Switzerland on the board, and we move on to another country that I'm not going to be ranking, but let's talk about it quickly. Azerbaijan. This is a meh. The juries pushed it really hard, and I wonder why. It's kind of boring to me, except for that one high note. That high note, first of all, like, yeah, sounds impressive, but the way that it's done on the live performance just really, it kind of cracks me up, not gonna lie, because there's this full-on like zoom in on his face, and he looks like he is in pain whilst performing the high note. Like, he, you know, I don't think many artists can pull off a high note like this and also look normal. So why are you doing a zoom in on his face when that happens? Okay, that's a weird choice, because he deadass looks like he has a problem. Like, he looks like he is about to shit himself, and that's not a flattering look. So why are you, framing your artist? So yeah, to sum it up, it's boring. Cool high note though. That's kind of it. Australia places 15th in the contest with Sheldon Riley. I think this might be another slightly controversial opinion, but I never really liked this song-wise, because I think Sheldon is a great artist, great voice. Love his style, by the way. I think that the styling in this performance is really, really good. I love the drama in his outfit, but this song, it's very difficult for me to explain why I don't like it, but I'm gonna try my best. Sometimes as he is singing it, it almost seems like he is like fighting against it, like fighting against the rhythm of the music. Like, it just doesn't go naturally. It doesn't have the ease. It doesn't have the flow that, in my opinion, is necessary to make a compelling song. It doesn't really feel that cohesive, and it doesn't have any ease to it. It just feels like a song like this should be slightly more, delicate, more flowy. This just kind of feels like he's shouting sentences at points, which, okay, get it, because like the message is there. It's just kind of, I know this is just not something that I would choose to listen to. I do, however, really like the staging. I think the stairs are fun, and I love the styling on him, as I just said. So there are like good points to this performance, specifically the styling and his voice. But the song itself, I feel like it maybe needed more time to cook, because it kind of feels slightly frantic in places, and it doesn't make for a compelling listening experience. This is my 29th place. Australia on the board. We can move on to Lithuania. Everybody, alert time. Hold on to your wigs, because mother has fucking arrived. This is a cuntquake of magnitude 8, okay? She took a shit in the mother toilet and refused to fucking flush, okay? She graduated from the University of Survington with a master's degree in motherlogical studies, honors in cuntology, and minor in slaying. Monica Liu is my president forever and always. This song, this is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. And unfortunately, we are probably never gonna get anything like this in Eurovision ever again, because this is so unique that I couldn't possibly imagine another artist doing anything remotely similar to this. The hypnotic but sultry vibe this has, like Sentimentai, on a song basis, is already insane to me. It's such an addictive song. And then you add in that performance, Monica Liu in that bob and that sequin dress that not many people could pull off, but she does it effortlessly. This woman, watching her is like watching a halftime show, in my opinion. Like, she has the stage presence of fucking Beyonce to me. And I am not joking. This woman is like, this is mother. This is the ultimate mother. Like, if I had like a Mount Rushmore of ultimate mothers, she would be on there. You know? That's the level of respect and admiration I have for this woman. Lithuania keeps on just sending incredible entries to this contest, especially this decade. But this is their best entry. And whenever they end up winning the contest, because it has to happen at some point, and I think it's going to happen very, very soon, actually. Like, I will probably enjoy their winning entry. It's probably going to be very, very fun. But this is still going to be my favorite Lithuania entry. I just don't see anything beating it in any regard. This is my second place. And it's also one of my favorite songs of all time. So, you know, it's a close battle between this and Iceland, but I do unfortunately love Iceland slightly more. I mean, that is my favorite song of all time. So Lithuania has to go second, but Jesus Christ, do I love this entry. Okay, now it's time to talk about a certain famous singer from Estonia. Hope is a good song. It's a banger, kind of. Like, I like the country vibe of it. It's a little bit more like actually country, like country radio, unlike Mej Hakendi Skjold, but it's still fun and I still like it. I think it's performed well. I really like the filter that they have on, like, for the first part of the performance. I like how he jumps from like the one part of the stage to another at one point. It's really, really cool, and I think it's kind of like an anthemic song in a way, but I just really like it. It's fun. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a shorter section, but I'm gonna give Estonia my 15th place. Poland. I've already talked about this performance in depth in my video when I roasted every single Polish entry to date. And for that video, that was like kind of the opinion that got me the most flack in the comments, was where I placed that specific entry, River by Ochman. My opinion on it hasn't really changed. If you want to see the full thing, go and watch that video. But in the short of it, I never liked this song. I think it's slightly underwhelming, and I think it doesn't utilize Ochman's talents to the fullest. And I also think that the staging was completely off. The CapCut effects of it all aside, honestly, but like included, they are whack. Like, what I don't even want to talk about it again. I'm just like, it's like the definition of wasted potential to me. Because this could have been an all-time great entry if they had given Ochman a better song with a better build and a better staging. But instead they settled for this mediocre song with a bad staging. And here we are. This placed really high. Surprisingly high, I would even say. Like, this being our best result this decade, when Gaia is like right there. Like, okay, whatever. This is my 27th place. And now we move on to the Netherlands. Where do I even, like, this is one of the best songs ever. Genuinely, this is so beautiful. Okay, no, actually, the first thought I have about it is the artist name is S10 and it plays 11th. Come on. It would have been so satisfying to see her place 10th. But honestly, no, she should have been top 10. Especially considering what finished right above. Calm down. We're gonna get there. I love this song on so many fronts. I think the simple nature of how it was staged, focusing all of your attention on the singer, was very, very smart, especially for a song like this. It's so emotional, so soft. However, it's also very, very captivating. They just don't make music like this anymore. in my opinion. This is, in my opinion, the best example of like a very, very well executed ballad entered into a contest, but like made modern. Like it feels modern. When I think of like the music that was popular in that time, you know, the kind of like Billie Eilish slightly, we had Olivia Rodrigo, we just, you know, exited Red TV. I think that was the year that it came out. Like, you know, we had a lot of sad bitch music, and this kind of took all of the best elements of that sort of genre, subgenre of music, I guess, and elevated them to the Eurovision stage. And in my opinion, it's one of the best entries to ever do it, honestly. This is my 6th place. We have Netherlands on the board, and we can move on to whatever that was.
Before that wolf eats my grandma, give that wolf a banana, give that wolf.
Should she suffer? All right, clap if you think she should suffer.
Give that wolf a banana. How about instead you give my ears a break? Burn this entry in hell. And I mean it with all my heart. This is one of the most annoying entries I think I've ever heard. Ever, period. This entry annoys the crap out of me. And it's not that I hate fun. I very, very clearly don't. But if you have a joke entry, make me laugh. And I never laughed at this once. It feels cringe. It feels just... You know what this reminds me of, actually? It reminds me of that Skibbity Toilet song from a couple years back. I think it was from like 2024. That's the energy that give me... I can't even get the title right. I'm so like angry at the fact that it even exists. That's what this song reminds me of. That same annoying loudness with no actual like funny factor anywhere. It's so just like sincerely, I hope that that wolf chokes on that banana and dies, or at least gets potassium poisoning, because that's what it deserves.
I sincerely apologize. I am just now seeing the reaction. I'm a comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line, then I cross it. I went way too far.
Sorry. Love Norway in Eurovision. This was horrible, and I will never enjoy this entry. Some people might like it. I do not. Norway officially places 37th in my ranking. Good job, guys. You really angered me. Thankfully, we move on from this monstrosity of an entry to an actually good song. Portugal just has a way in Eurovision of sending the best songs you will ever hear, and then doing that consistently for years, because this, oh my god, this is one of the best songs I've ever heard. And this is like the 5th time I'm saying this in this video. Like, that's crazy. I love the energy of the girls just facing their backs to the audience and standing in this like circle. It feels so intimate. It's almost like you're witnessing like a private, you know, friends group talk, or like a session, a healing session after a breakup or something like that. It's so good. And the song itself is just perfect. Like Saudade is genuinely one of the best songs you will ever hear, one of the best Portuguese entries you will ever hear. And it's magical. I think I'm so happy that this qualified. I'm so happy that this finished this high, because this deserved the top 10. And if it wouldn't have placed in the top 10, I would be rioting. You would hear about me on the news. I adore this song from every level, and I always will. I mean, songs like these are a reason for why I am a Portugal stan. This is my 4th place. Greece is up next. I remember not really liking this entry when I first heard it in 2022, but this is definitely one that I've started to appreciate more as time went on. Slightly more on the generic side of things, I'd argue, but what really elevates it, in my opinion, is Amanda's voice. I think that Uno is like the number one thing here. Her voice is phenomenal. I also kind of like this staging, like the chairs and how they're like, I don't know how to call it, but it's really cool to me. One thing I don't understand necessarily is the styling on Amanda, because she kind of looks like she's wearing one of those like Victorian nightgowns. And I don't know why, but go off, I guess. I don't really have much to say about this entry, honestly. It's just kind of there. But I've definitely gotten to like it way more than I did in 2022. In 2022, I didn't pay attention to it at all. And now it is my 16th place. Okay, Greece on the board. We can move on to Moldova.
And clap.
Oh, Moldova, how I love you. I love Trenuletul so much. This song is everything I love about Eurovision, because it is slightly traditional in places, but it's just really, really fun. It is just so charming. How can you not smile when you are watching this? It's so good. And also, yes, give me a song about trains any day of the week. Yes, I will take it. The fact that this finished second in the televote too. Only Moldova could. Like, this is, oh my God, I love this entry so much. It's such a perfect song, such a perfect performance. This is so whimsical. I love the way that they perform it. Zdobji Zdub are just the ultimate goats. Like, when I grow up, I want to be like them. Period. This is my 5th place. Moldova on the board. We can move on to Italy.
I did not care for The Godfather.
Okay, controversial opinion incoming. I think Brividi is the top example of people are gonna vote for anything if it's in Italian, because Jesus Christ, why was this 6th? Don't get me wrong, I love Mahmoud, but this is just not that good of a song. It was slightly pitchy live too. Like, I think it tries to come off as like an incredible epic song. I feel like that's kind of the same case for like Due Vita in 2023, where like it tries to do that like Italian Sanremo vibe of like very, very popular music that you kind of have to like because it's very commercially successful. But actually it ends up making you feel very underwhelmed after you're done watching the performance. It was just so like, okay.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
This was probably the most overrated entry of this edition. I don't understand why this was top 10 at all, let alone 6th. Like, in what world? This was not a serve. This was pretending to serve, but it wasn't actually serving, if you know what I'm saying. Does that make sense? This is my 22nd place, and I don't care. Italy, out of the way, we can move on to top 5, that being Serbia. Another mother alert, I guess. Like the 5th one in this video at this point, but oh my God, I love Constructa so much. We love an entry with a message, that's the first thing, but also we love an entry that challenges the typical formula of a Eurovision entry and makes things fun, makes things interesting, and makes things very, very, like, I don't know, original too. I love rewatching this performance because of the way that, first of all, the way that this is performed with her like washing her hands and stuff, it's so good. But also the way that the crowd gets into it and claps with her, it's so good. I love sometimes an entry that's a little bit more like cerebral in that way. So I of course love In Corpore Sano. I think it's a great entry. I love that the more you dig in this entry, the more you find. It's one of those entries. I kind of feel like a similar case could be made for like Zierm this year, where like Zierm on the surface, you could understand what it was about, but the more you dig in it, the more you find. Like Zierm is genuinely like an endless mine of gold, of incredible concepts and incredible messaging. Same thing could be said for In Corpore Sano, and for that we have to thank Constructa for her service, because she really did it. She did the damn thing. She did her big one with this, and she was cemented a Eurovision icon thanks to it. Deservedly so. This is my 10th place. Top 4 time, and now we are talking Sweden with Cornelia Jacobs and Hold Me Closer. So this is another entry that initially I didn't really love. Like it was kind of there, but I also thought that it was slightly overrated. But with time, I definitely have grown to appreciate it more and more, specifically when compared to other Swedish entries into Eurovision. Like I remember not really understanding the big deal about this and also wondering why is she barefoot? And to that, I still haven't really found an answer. But the song itself, I've definitely grown to enjoy more. Like when compared to other Swedish Eurovision entries, I definitely think that this is just more authentic. It feels more sincere. And, you know, Swedish Eurovision entries are known from basically being like pretty like well-produced pop that comes from the Melfest factory, but doesn't really have much behind it. Like there's not much authenticity to it. It's just a good pop song that's gonna get some radio play and likely gonna get some jury points on the board, but it's not gonna like touch your heart. And Hold Me Closer does the opposite. It was very popular with the juries still, but I think how it did it was maintaining that traditional Swedish Polish that we get to see basically every year from them, whilst also just delivering something that feels incredibly sincere. Like this is her story. I know it. Like this is her story. She's telling us the story of her life, not the story of like some random thing that a random Jimmy Joker Fornfelt or another Swedish songwriter that occupies Melfest at this point gave her to sing. It's her story, and I love that. I also love that this song still is a little bit rough around the edges in places. It just feels like a product made by a person, not by a machine, not by an industry, by a person. And that's why I respect it. This is going to be my 9th place. We officially have only 3 entries left and only 1 place in my top 10 left as well. And now we move on to top 3, which is Spain. This performance, let's get this out of the way first. This performance is insane. This is like one of the best performances we'll ever see in the history of Eurovision. That dance break is gonna go down in history books. However, this song will not. I've heard songs like Slow Mo before, and I will likely hear them again. Sometimes they will be done better, and sometimes they won't. But ultimately, they just don't really feel that original to me, and neither does Slow Mo. Slow Mo is just a girl bop. It's a lucky girl bop because it got Chanel as its performer, and Chanel is a phenomenal performer, and it had a great performance, great choreo, all of that. But on a song-to-song basis, it's pretty middling to me. On the musical front, this isn't revolutionary in any way, shape, or form. Performance front, of course, yes. This set the bar for how girl bops look like right now and what is kind of expected for you. I mean, in 2023, we had like 4 different dance breaks for some reason because of Chanel's impact. The song itself, I just don't really have that much urge to go back to listen to, specifically because of that performance. Like I go back to rewatch the performance. I don't stream the song that often, really, at all, I would actually say. However, when it comes to like studio to stage elevation, few can compete with Slow Mo. What also bugs me about this entry is not necessarily like the song itself or the performance itself. Those are fine. I would say it's how the fandom treats this song. Like it's the second coming of Jesus, which it very clearly wasn't. Also the stupid like rivalry between the Spanish fans and the Ukrainian fans because Slow Mo lost to Stefania. Like, girl, Slow Mo wasn't gonna win either way. Like this didn't win the televote. This didn't even win the jury either. Like also, are you forgetting that Sam Ryder placed higher than this? Like why are we beefing with Kalush Orchestra when like Chanel wasn't even second? Like if she was second, maybe I could understand the conversation, but she was third, which, by the way, great placing. I don't know, just like maybe chill out, go outside, you know, breathe some air, go on a walk, touch some grass, I don't know, look in the sky, admire the clouds, do that. I don't know. It just kind of feels silly to me. I also I just feel like the fans of this song can be incredibly toxic. I'm like if you don't like it, it's over for you. But if you criticize it in any way, shape, or form, it's also over for you. Like, you have to basically worship this song like it's actually, like it's the second coming of Jesus. Like I said, it's not. It's not, and I'm not gonna be lying about it. It's a great performance. It's a good Eurovision entry, but it's not great. And it definitely would have been a worse winner than Stefania, in my opinion. I'm placing this in my 13th place, which is still high because I still think this is one of the best performances of all time. But mind yourself when you enter that comment section, because if you are here to leave me abuse because of how I treated the song, go away. I don't want you here. 2 more entries to go, and now we have the United Kingdom. Sam Ryder represented them with his song Spaceman, and honestly, for a UK entry, this is incredible. I remember at the time being kind of surprised that this finished second. But like, that jury score is very, very understandable to me now. Like, this man, probably the best vocalist of the audition, I would argue. This is such a good entry. It's staged so well. I think it has a very, very clear point of reference, but it also doesn't feel cliche. It doesn't feel like you're trying to reheat someone's nachos. It's bringing a vibe that we love, but also building on it. And that's something that I really enjoy. I think this song feels authentic. It doesn't feel manufactured. It feels like it's an actual product from Sam, and he performs this song so well. Like, the rent was due. And the high notes in this performance, the guitars, I love the production on this. He is a phenomenal singer. And honestly, after this entry was like received so well by Europe, placed second overall, like, the United Kingdom got really, really lucky, because it seems that so far trying to recreate this kind of success hasn't really been working out for them, 2 different zeros from the televotes since then. Honestly, the UK is very, very lucky to have someone like Sam Ryder represent them, because I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate his success in a few years' time, but I don't know. We'll see. This is an instant classic, in my opinion. This is such a good entry, and it deserved to get that high up the scoreboard. I think it deserved to do so well with the juries. Everything about this, in my opinion, is great, and this is my 12th place. And yeah, congrats to all the British people who might be watching this. I know that all of you are probably very, very proud of this entry, as you should. But with that, we can go to the entry that actually ended up taking the trophy on the night of the final in 2022 in Turin, which was Stefania by Kalush Orchestra. This win has been deemed a political win by so many people, and so many people have complained. I've also seen people say that this win was like the beginning of the downfall of Eurovision, because we are suddenly allowing politics to interfere with music. It's like, girl, please be so fucking for real. Israel buying televotes is such a completely different issue to Ukraine winning here. This was Europe showing up in support of Ukraine. This was Europe deciding to wholeheartedly show immense support to this country. The war in Ukraine at the time had basically just started, and unfortunately it's still ongoing as of today. And I think that maybe some pity votes were sent their way, but I also think more of it was literally just support and celebrating and uplifting the Ukrainian culture, which was in danger at the time, and unfortunately still stays in danger today because of the ongoing attacks of Russia. But also, like, call it a political victory, I don't care. Yes, it was a political victory. It's very clear that it was. But just because it's a political victory doesn't mean it's bad. I feel like we're associating the term political in this context as bad, when most of the time it doesn't have to be. I don't think that this victory was bad. I actually think that it was great for the contest to show such support to Ukraine, and then later to uplift the Ukrainian culture through the UK, which ended up hosting in 2023. I also don't feel any anger towards Ukraine for winning, or towards college orchestra for winning, or towards Europe for voting this way, because frankly, it was deserved. This entry should have been a winner either way, and in my opinion, it would have been a winner no matter if the situation in Ukraine would have happened or not. Also, let me quickly remind you, they didn't need to basically fake a televote victory using ads in 30-something languages. But a certain someone did, and a certain someone even failed at doing so. First time they tried it, and the second time they did it only because the televote figures were extremely split. Yet I've never seen a single ad telling me to vote for Ukraine 20 times in my language.
Clock that T. Clock that T. Clock it. Clock that.
I think that's kind of the end of discussion on here. Like, genuinely, I will not be discussing whether this win was valid or not anymore, because it was. And anyone who thinks differently, I am sorry, but I do think you're in the wrong. That's that. I'm not gonna be listening to those opinions because I just simply don't agree. Like, this is a phenomenal winner and a phenomenal song. Stefania is such a poignant entry to send, especially when the war in Ukraine started. I think it would have been very, very easy for them to send something that was a little bit more sad, a little bit more melancholic, and kind of reflecting on the fate of their country. And I think that maybe would have been more justified to say that, like, oh my God, they're asking for pity votes. But this is nothing like that. This is a celebration. This is an uplifting of Ukrainian culture. This is taking that culture, modernizing it, and providing us with a banger that's gonna be hitting so hard for years to come. Stefania is incredible. How it mixes those more traditional sounds with, like, I think it's kind of more like a hip hop, kind of urban vibe is so fascinating to me. This is what I love about Eurovision. It's when you have these entries that take their musical traditions and find a way to modernize them and to sell them to a new audience, whilst also still, staying faithful to the culture that they came from. I think that's wonderful. And I think that should be celebrated. And I'm happy that it was celebrated with a victory. I would even go as far as saying that this is the best winner of the decade so far. Like, I love all the winners so far. They've been good, but this was great. Ukraine lands itself in my 7th place, and that brings us to the end of the ranking. Some of my parting words, I would say that this edition was very, very consistent on all fronts. There were some songs that were bad. Some of them even made the final, but also there was a lot of songs that were cut that were still very good. Altogether, I would say that a majority of these entries are phenomenal. I would say from I don't know, Slovenia down. No, Belgium down, actually. Belgium, Germany, I don't know. From Germany down, it's pretty bad, but that's 8 entries? No, not even 7 entries. That's not too bad. It's a really, really solid year. I think it had an incredible set of songs. I think it was very, very diverse. It showed incredible artistry in forms like My Hakan Dishol or Sentimentai or Fulen. I could just go for my top 10 here again, just point out why I love them again. But honestly, I think I've already yapped enough about them and enough about these entries. Please let me know in the comments down below which Eurovision edition would you like to see me revisit next month in October. Of course, I'm going to be very, very busy in October because The Life of a Showgirl drops, and I'm going to be making videos about that too. But I might as well revisit a Eurovision edition or two in that month as well. So please let me know which one you would like to see next. Let me know what you thought of the ranking of the video or whatever I said. You can drop your own ranking in the comments down below as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around to the end, I really, really love you. Take care, and I will see you in a week's time where we're going to be talking about more pop culture stuff. It's gonna be fun. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation to have. And I cannot wait to do it. And I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So yeah, take care. Bye. And I'll see you very, very soon.